Hello, the Deborah woman. Welcome to another episode of the Deborah woman podcast. How have we all been doing? I trust that you've been following on our series, Lessons from the Zelophehad'S Daughters. Lessons from the Zelophehad's Daughters. Today, we are going to continue on that same series, and we're going to be taking another lesson from the Zelophehad daughters. One of the lessons we're going to be taking today is that they were emancipators. They were emancipators. What is emancipators? I put something down here about what an emancipator is. An emancipator is someone who frees others from bondage, from slavery, right? From power or from another person, particularly maybe from a state of slavery and or oppression. Yes, they are often referred to as liberators. They're often referred to as liberators, someone who liberated. You agree with me that because of what these five Zelophehad daughters did, there was liberation in that town, in that state, in that community. There was liberation because daughters are no longer denied of their inheritance. Daughters are they were no longer denied of their inheritance just because these five women knew the source to go to, came together, had one voice, went to the right source, and they spoke and they demanded for their inheritance. That saved all that several women that would have been denied of their inheritance, or those that have even been denied of their inheritance. So it was like liberation. It came to liberate women, right? They came to liberate all the women, that have been denied of their inheritance. So they were what? Emancipators. They were emancipators. And this is good. They were liberators. They came to liberate women. They came to say enough is enough. No longer would that which is mine be taken away from me. No longer would my father's inheritance be given to another. Right? So these women, they were liberators. They were liberators. They came to free these women from bondage, from slavery of the fact that women, are meant to probably not have anything, just be there. It was more like women are of no value, right? That was what it looked like. Women are of no value, just give birth to the women and, they just live their life, but nothing attached, no inheritance attached to them. But these women, they came, they changed the narratives. So that is what God is interested to do with you. Yes, you watching this today. That is what God is interested to do with you. And God has been calling you up here, that this is like a wake-up call for you. This is like an answer. This is like you need to wake up. You need to be a voice. My mother will say that I am a voice and not an echo. So you are a voice and not an echo. If you have been hiding by the sideline, like Deborah. Deborah did not, the people of Israel would have perished if Deborah did not arise. These five women, if they had not arose, narrative won't have been changed, culture won't have been shifted, right? Culture won't have been shifted, but these five women, they arose and culture was shifted. They were liberators, right? They were people now who had changed the narrative of culture, of something that was known to be a law before. But because they decided to step up, they decided to have a voice, they decided to come out, they decided to speak out, and then a narrative was changed. A law that was ruling for so long changed because they decided to be bold, they decided to speak up, and they decided to be audacious. So you need to speak up today. You need to stop hiding by the sideline. You need to get up. You need to get up, and you need to get up and make a difference. These five women made a difference. That's why they're celebrated today. They changed the narrative. They changed the culture. We are singing no turning back. We spend for Jesus. We shift the culture and all of that and all of that. It's not just mere words. You don't just have to just be singing them. You need to actually do them. These women did this. They changed the culture because they decided to step up. They decided to speak out. So like Deborah did not just sit and said, if these people should perish, let them perish. It's none of my business, but I'm not going to that war. But she arose and she led an army of men. So stop thinking small. There's so much embedded inside of you. You are a voice and you are not an echo. You are what? A voice. You are not an echo. These women, they were voices. They were powerful voices. They were resounding voices. They were so bold. It's the audacity for me. In the olden days, this would have probably cost them their head. You know, like Esther too in the Bible. Esther went before the king and said, if I perish, I perish. And you would agree with me, nobody that actually said if they perish, actually did perish. So what does that tell you? It just tells you that you just need to accept, you just need to acknowledge, and you just need to take that bold step. That's all it means. So it's fear that bounds out. Imagine, one thing that has kept other women, aside these 5 Zelophehad's daughters that came out to speak up for their inheritance, one thing that kept them was fear, was culture. Number 1 is fear. Why? Let me not speak up. Oh, this is not the law of the land. Let me not speak up so that my head will not be taken. Another is culture. This is how it is done in the land. So they've accepted it. They've accepted the narratives. What have you accepted today? What is that narrative that you have accepted that is keeping you bound? That is making you an echo and not a voice? What's that narrative? What's that narrative? Right? What is that narrative that kept you, that makes you an echo and not a voice? What's an echo? You're just in your room murmuring and mumbling, but you're not providing solution. Stop complaining and start finding solutions. Start being a solution. Start being a solution. Right? So these women, they didn't want to just complain. They wanted the difference. They wanted change. So they stepped out. They stepped out. Are you not tired of complaining? Are you not tired of mumbling? What has your complaint and mumbling done? I'm sure a lot of women in that community have mumbled and complained and have done nothing. But these ones, they said they were not going to mumble, they were not going to complain. They were going to take a step. So today you need to take a step. You need to cripple fear. Fear is a thief. Fear is a thief. So you need to cripple fear. And remember, your gender does not limit you. Deborah's gender did not limit her. Esther's gender did not limit her. These 5 Zelophehad's daughters' gender did not limit them. They didn't even say, there's no brother to back me. They went, they stepped out. So don't let nothing limit you. You can be a Syrian. You can be the Deborah of our time. You can be the Esthers of our time. You can be these 5 Zelophehad's daughters in your community, in your village, to change in the narrative, to shift culture. So you can be that and more. Because everything you need, God has already put it inside of you. Fear has stolen a lot from us. Fear has made us believe that we are small. Fear has, stolen time from us, stolen opportunity from us. Because we are afraid. And another thing again is our mindset. Our mindset has stolen a lot from us. Our mindset have told us who we are, where we are, and what we need to be. What is God saying about you? That's what should matter. It's not about what people say. It's not about what the culture say. It's not about what is God saying about you? What is God saying about you? Yes, it might be scary, but just start and take that step. These women, I don't want to believe that they didn't, harbor a little tiny bit of fear in them. But no, they conquered that fear. They said, what will be. Like Esther, if I perish, I perish. Right? So take that step today. Start that class. Start that ministry that God has given to you. Start that school. Cripple that fear. And in your life, I would always say this, that in your obedience lies other people's answers and alignment. In your obedience lies other people's answers and alignment. Because some people, are waiting for you. Just because of these 5 women, other women can be able to speak for themselves. I just want to imagine what happened in that community after this request was granted to these 5 women. It would just be like, they just opened up a channel, and then women begin to, all those things they were quiet about before, they begin to, speak up, and everybody begin to talk and all of that, just because 5 women decided to change it, to step up. So would you be that today? Until we meet in our next episode, when we talk about another lessons that was learned from the 5 Zelophehad's daughters. Until then,